The newly purchased incubus was flushed and breathing heavily the moment we got home. "Master Itchy, please touch it. One more scratch. Just once." His scorching tail coiled tightly around me. Suspecting he was ill, I posted online for help. "Why does my incubus keep itching his tail?" The top comment made my head spin. "Streamer, you're missing the point. Is he really asking you to scratch his tail? He wants you to. Streamer, what he's trying to shove into your hand isn't his tail. It's..." Pro tip: never touch an incubus tail unless you're ready for consequences. Trust me, QAQ. Fun fact: tail overheating is phase 1 of incubus mating cycles. Owners beware, if they hold back too long, you'll pay for it. First my cat kept meowing. Then my goldfish belly flopped constantly. Now this my incubus tail itches saga. What's next? Wrap it up, folks. At this rate, our streamer won't have energy left to open Instagram. Before reading these, I'd worried my health insurance wouldn't cover mythical creatures. Now I froze. Wait, tail itching means he's in heat? What does he actually want me to grab? Why would his restraint hurt me? My fingers stilled on his throbbing tail. The towering male incubus, Ethan, panted hoarsely, confusion lacing his velvet growl. "Master, why stop?" His crimson-tinged eyes glistened as he withdrew his tail slightly. "If you're tired, I'll endure it." Guilt crushed me. Resuming the massage, I worked from tail base to tip with alternating pressure. When my thumb brushed the sensitive triangular tip, his entire body shuddered. A strangled moan escaped his clenched jaw. "Is this your condition worsening, or?" I couldn't voice the word heat. I knew nothing about managing incubus cycles. I never planned to own one. But when a boutique offered a 99% off lottery coupon, how could I resist? Initially, I thought it was another scam like those $5 off Rolls-Royce gimmicks. Yet among million-dollar incubi, there he was, Ethan, priced at exactly $100. 000. $10 for a $100,000 incubus? Steal of the century. Even without needing a bed warmer, I took him home, intending to use him as an organic Roomba. But on his first night, his tail began smoldering. That voice, rough yet honeyed, begged for relief. Let's face it, incubi are universally attractive, but Ethan's the Adonis among them, chiseled physique, smoldering eyes framed by natural eyeliner, features sharp enough to cut glass. Fine, he's marginally hotter than me. When those obsidian eyes plead, resistance crumbles. Thus, I wasted my precious weekend massaging that infernal tail. My aching wrist begged me to stop. "Enough for today," I said, releasing his steaming appendage. Ethan's throat bobbed as if swallowing protests, yet he obediently withdrew his tail. That submissive pout almost lured me back, until my stomach growled, saving me from further idiocy. I blushed awkwardly. "Let's get ready for dinner." He obediently stood up and walked toward the kitchen. "I'll make dinner for you, master." My hand reaching for instant noodles froze mid-air before I casually withdrew it. I knew he could cook, but never expected such mastery. Within minutes, 4 aromatic dishes and a soup materialized on the table, putting my pathetic ramen diet to shame. Ethan carried the final plate over, his gravelly baritone vibrating through me. "Dinner's served, master." His tail still radiated heat, prompting him to remove his shirt, leaving only the faded navy apron I'd bought years ago. The strained fabric barely contained his frame, clinging to defined muscles that glowed like marble under the dim kitchen lights. I averted my burning face. "You should dress properly at home. What if someone visits?" Ethan hummed agreement, misty eyes locked on me as sweat beaded his forehead. His Adam's apple bobbed. "But master, I'm overheating. I'll turn on the AC." After dinner, I instinctively headed toward my bedroom only to collide with a wall of scorching skin. He pressed against my back, hot breath ghosting my earlobe. "What are you doing?" I snapped, whirling around. "I told you to use the guest room." Those sharp features softened as his lips brushed my cheek. "Let me stay with you." My spine stiffened. "I didn't buy you for that. Do whatever you want except this." For $10 at a flea market, I'd expected nothing. His tail coiled around my waist like velvet rope. Incubi can't survive on human food. He murmured against my neck, fangs grazing skin. I'm starving. Panic surged as his tail slid lower. I shoved him away, slamming my bedroom door while gasping for air. The consequences of refusing him remained unknown, but accepting that road led to places my self-control couldn't navigate. For 7 days I became a ghost in my own home, leaving at dawn, returning after dark, barricading myself nightly. Ethan's glow dimmed with each rejection. He stopped complaining about tail pain, silently polishing every surface until our shabby apartment gleamed. Strange trinkets appeared: seashells by the sink, wildflowers in recycled jars. That evening, I collided with living furnace the moment I entered. Ethan maintained careful distance despite feverish skin, tail curling in tentative greeting. Master, may I bring you lunch tomorrow? The fridge overflows. Memory surfaced, last week's frantic grocery haul after learning incubi required specific nutrients. My empty wallet had screamed protest while stocking up on rare spices and crimson meats. This week I've been eating all my meals out. The stuff in my fridge must be going bad by now. Okay, I agreed. Ethan's eyes lit up, the triangular tip of his tail blurring with rapid movement. The apartment walls were thin. That night, I heard Ethan's muffled, strained groans from the next room, equal parts agony and exhilaration. My throat went dry listening to those sounds. At noon the next day, when Ethan came to deliver lunch at my office, I was buried in last-minute prep for an afternoon meeting. A coworker heading downstairs for a group meal delivery offered to bring mine up. "Sean, you ditching the squad for takeout now?" he teased. "Someone's cooking for me at home." I grinned. He fake gagged in envy. When he returned with my food, he looked shell-shocked. "Sean, is that guy your boyfriend?" Absolute perfection. I flushed crimson, remembering how Ethan's burning embrace felt no different from a lover's. "And no, he's just my succubus." "Wait, you're keeping that kind of model?" My coworker gaped before muttering, "No wonder my efforts never worked. We've got overlapping preferences." I silently assessed his twinkish frame. Overlapping preferences? Even if it were Ethan, I'd still be the top. Ethan grew increasingly restless these days. Flushed face glistening, eyes glassy with need. His gravelly pleas for comfort melted my resolve. I promised post-work tail rubs, though the repetitive motions were giving me carpal tunnel. His deepening hunger in those midnight stares unnerved me. When our manager treated the team to Friday dinner after landing a big client, I leapt at the excuse, texting Ethan, "Dinner meeting tonight. Don't wait up." He replied instantly, "Will Master still rub my tail later?" The memory of his trembling restraint under my touch surfaced. "Maybe if there's time," I typed. His obedient waiting sticker made my chest tighten. At the restaurant, our manager brought her bubbly succubus girlfriend. I focused on inhaling appetizers until the conversation pivoted to me. "Sean's got a succubus too. Why didn't you bring yours?" "Seriously, we all see that Adonis delivering your lunch daily. So jealous. Aren't they like energy supplements? My cousin glows since getting one. New succubus cafe opened downtown. Want to check it out after this?" I chuckled through a mouthful of garlic bread as the topic moved on. The succubus retail boom was getting out of hand. To my surprise, the manager's succubus suddenly approached me. Her nostrils twitched as she leaned in to sniff. "Everyone says you have a succubus. Why don't I smell any demon scent on you?" I explained, "I don't interact much with my succubus. He mainly just cooks for me." The demon girl immediately shot me an accusatory look. "Your succubus must be miserable. Starving while working for you? That's not what? Not starving him? Not overworking him?" She cut me off angrily. "You humans make impulsive contracts with demons, but can't even feed them properly. Do you know how many succubi die of starvation every year?" "Wait, succubi can starve to death?" This was news to me. I quickly grabbed her arm as she turned to leave. "I'm sorry. I didn't know. What happens if a succubus goes too long without feeding?" She glared coldly. "Unbound succubi can survive years without feeding. But once contracted to a human, they weaken rapidly and die." My stomach dropped. Had Ethan and I actually formed a contract? Probably not. She added bitterly, "Don't think you're innocent just because you didn't sign papers. If a succubus stays close to a human with physical contact, the bond forms automatically." Her tea-colored eyes narrowed. "My kind's lives matter too. Here's my contact information. If your succubus ever wants out, tell him to contact me." She pressed a slip of paper into my palm, leaving a faint demonic fragrance on my skin, a marker for Ethan to recognize her. The thought of Ethan starving because I'd been avoiding him made my chest tighten. He had seemed lethargic lately, not his usual vibrant self. Did Ethan know about our bond? Did he realize he was dying? The realization pierced me like needles. Despite everything, I'd grown dependent on his presence. Back at the dinner table, I drowned my anxiety in alcohol. A colleague patted my shoulder. "Cheer up." Like me, when I realized we're both in a certain situation, I got over it quick. Liquor burned my throat as I slurred. "What do you mean? I'm way stronger than you." He laughed, squeezing my bicep. "Muscles don't matter, we're both in the same boat." I defiantly chugged my drink, bragging about mythical bedroom prowess until blacking out. The next thing I knew, I was leaning against my apartment doorbell. Click. The door opened. "Welcome home, Master," Ethan began, but froze mid-sentence. Wind rattled the entryway shelves as I stumbled into him, reeking of alcohol and strangers. "Sean." His smile twisted bitterly. "Had fun?" I grinned dopily. "Yeah. Met this succubus girl who... Did you think about me once while playing with other demons?" He interrupted, voice trembling. I blinked. This wasn't the composed Ethan I knew. "So you met a female succubus and got intimate with her, huh?" He lowered his gaze, expression unreadable. I blinked in surprise. "How did you know?" "Your skin carries her pheromones." And his eyes hardened. "The contact info. Wow, you're amazing." Oblivious to his dangerous tone, I cheerfully raised my arm, displaying the glowing digits. "Look, she wrote her number here. Maybe you could." "I won't." Ethan slammed the door shut with a metallic click, trapping me between the wood panel and his heaving chest. His crimson, tipped ears flushed darker as he crushed his lips against mine. I struggled futilely against his serpent, like tail constricting my waist. The familiar tactic of stroking his sensitive tail tip only made him growl and tighten his coils. His wandering appendage brushed against my lower back. Slipping beneath the waistband, I froze. He carried me to bed despite my kicks. My protests dissolved into breathy whimpers beneath his relentless assault. "And no, Ethan, stop." The raspy plea sounded more like encouragement. "Could any other succubus make you feel this good?" His amber eyes darkened to burnt umber, sweat dripping onto my collarbone. I could only gasp as electric pleasure short-circuited my thoughts. My body arched in ways I'd never imagined, vocalizing sounds I'd never made. "Sean?" Ethan's sweat mingled with mine as he whispered against my swollen lips. "Do you love me?" "And no." My weak punch dissolved into trembling fingers tracing his spine. The glowing succubus digits on my forearm pulsed mockingly. He stilled. A hot tongue lashed across my skin, trying to erase the numbers. Why protect her contact? The venom in his voice startled me. "I thought you could add her, so I can learn better techniques?" His tail yanked my hips flush against his. Am I not satisfying enough? The protest died in my throat as he claimed my mouth with bruising intensity. Starbursts exploded behind my eyelids. Morning light revealed Ethan nuzzling my chest like an overgrown housecat, his thrashing tail slapping my thigh awake. I pushed against his sweat-slicked shoulders, exposing the constellation of bite marks across my torso. "Ethan." My sandpaper rasp made him flinch. "We need to talk." His arms tightened like living manacles around me. "You said you'd listen. I met a succubus yesterday, and she..." Before I could finish, Ethan covered my mouth. "Sorry, Master. Couldn't help it. Keep going." She said prolonged physical contact with humans automatically forms a pact, MMPH. He silenced me again. "Master." "Continue." Panting, I finally realized he was deliberately interrupting. I pinched his bicep. "We're discussing serious matters. No touching." His tail drooped listlessly over my abs. I embraced him. I'm sorry, Ethan. Are you still planning to form a pact with that female succubus? His entire body stiffened, voice turning gravelly. I blushed furiously. Don't be absurd. That's our manager's succubus. Truly? His mood visibly lifted. Cross my heart. I nodded vehemently. Ethan, I never knew prolonged contact forms irreversible pacts between humans and succubi. I didn't realize you'd starve without sustenance after bonding. I don't want you dying. I'm just not ready for that with a man yet. My voice muffled against his chest. If it becomes unbearable, the manager's succubus mentioned dissolution methods. Ethan's eyes ignited like supernovas. So you weren't seeking another? His pupils dilated, demonic energy swirling as he pinned me down. No rush, master. We'll take it slow. His feverish skin seared mine, forked tail tip prodding my lower back. When his lips found my throat, resistance evaporated. I surrendered to his exploring hands, swept into the electric current between us. But soon, his movements turned erratic. Each thrust grew punishing, his claws leaving red trails. I yanked his hair, arching painfully. Ethan, gentler. He seemed deaf to pleas, body temperature spiking dangerously. I bit his tail in protest only to scorch my tongue on the glowing barb. Master, I think. Ethan collapsed mid-sentence, skin radiating furnace heat. Panic clawed my throat. Ethan, wake up. I fumbled for my phone, realizing I didn't know supernatural EMS numbers. The manager's succubus. But the sharp digits on my arm had smeared beyond recognition from Ethan's earlier enthusiasm. Frantically dialing my manager, I prayed her succubus picked up. I need your demon's help. Ethan's burning up. My phone was snatched by the sultry demon girl who drawled. Hey there, you irresponsible incubus owner. What do you want? My anxious, guilt-ridden voice trembled. Hi, I need to ask, where should I take an unconscious incubus for medical care? Mine suddenly spiked a fever and collapsed. Her lazy demeanor shifted instantly. Describe his condition. While I explained, she summoned the Cooper family's private ambulance for supernatural beings. Soon, the specialized vehicle arrived to transport Ethan. At the hospital, Ethan immediately underwent tests before being hooked to 4 fluids. Clutching the medical report, my voice shook. So he collapsed from prolonged starvation, exhaustion, and emotional distress? The doctor adjusted her glasses coolly. Correct. Post-contractual malnutrition combined with unresolved mating cycle depletion pushed his body past limits. Sudden emotional turbulence triggered critical fever. Her stethoscope tapped the chart reproachfully. Responsible owners monitor incubus vital signs. Their tails glow during heat cycles, clear indicators requiring immediate assistance. I nodded heavily, guilt curdling in my stomach. Idiotically, I'd brought Ethan home unprepared for incubus care. Taking emergency leave, I kept vigil at his bedside until doctors predicted he'd awaken within days. Humming cheerfully with takeout and nutrient supplements, I bounced down the hospital corridor, imagining Ethan's recovery. I'd devote myself completely to his well-being now, even if the empty bed stopped me cold. Faded warmth lingered in the sheets, but Ethan had vanished. Frantic searches yielded nothing. Ethan? Ethan? Nurses offered only vague, discharged explanations. Had he fled to avoid me? Clutching cold food containers, I wandered streets until finding the occult shop where our contract began. The owner recognized me instantly. Looking for Ethan, aren't you? My hopeful nod met his shrug. The Cooper family reclaimed him. $10 coupon bargains never last. He turned the close sign, leaving me staring at empty display cages where Ethan's contract once gathered dust. Why? I mumbled. Because you failed to properly nourish your succubus, starving him between erratic feedings. His family intervened and took him away. He shrugged. Our contracts with humans are mutual agreements. Humans provide sustenance. We offer financial stability and emotional fulfillment. But you neglected your obligations. Your succubus had every right to leave. Exiting the succubus agency, despair weighed heavier. The searing sunset pierced my eyes, hot tears carving paths down my cheeks. Back in Ethan's bed, stubborn hope lingered. Even if Ethan chose to abandon me, he owed me closure. I messaged the succubus liaison who'd helped before. People who assist once often do twice. Sis, could you track down my succubus? His name's Ethan. I rasped, misery thickening my voice. He vanished from the hospital this morning. Family took him. Just need to see him one last time. Perhaps my wretchedness moved her. After a pause, her honeyed voice agreed to investigate. Next afternoon, while pushing tasteless meal prep around, her call came. Sean, your Ethan has complicated connections. I can't intervene, but his initial choice revealed genuine affection. Wait for him. Her explanation unveiled succubus hierarchies. Lower tier ones display obvious otherness, dependent on contracts. Highborn variants like the Coopers blend seamlessly into society, sustaining themselves from multiple sources without starvation risks. My knuckles whitened. Of course, the prestigious Cooper family would reclaim their son from some deadbeat human. Ethan wouldn't starve, he'd thrive without me. Twin tears splashed into plastic containers. Goodbye, Ethan. Proper goodbye this time. 20 days post-abandonment, my manager halted my self-destruction. You're resting. Now. He jabbed at my corpse-like complexion. Keep this up. You'll headline as our office fatality. Re-entering the apartment after days away, disorientation struck. Either sleep deprivation hallucinated, or Ethan stood vacuuming in faded sweats, lean back arching like supple bamboo. Ethan? My voice cracked. The person turned at the sound of my voice. His sharp features softened into a delighted curve. Sean, you finally came back. Ethan stood at a polite distance, though his tail twitched impatiently against my leg. I rushed forward, crushing him in my embrace. Tears streamed down onto his collarbone like scattered pearls. I thought I'd never see you again. His arms locked around me with bruising force, as though trying to merge our bodies together. Sean, I'm home. We clung to each other from golden sunset until midnight shadows swallowed the room. I desperately inhaled Ethan's scent, worshipping every inch of him with feverish kisses. Eventually we stumbled into my bedroom, still preserved exactly as it had been before his disappearance. Condom wrappers littering the bedsheets from our last encounter. Don't rip it, I panted, stopping his eager hands. Just skip that part. Later, Ethan coiled around me, his melodic voice tinged with hurt. Sean, I sent so many messages these past days. Why didn't you answer? My work phone, I murmured hazily. Left my personal device at the office. Too many memories. The backup phone containing our chat history had stayed untouched in my apartment drawer. Dissatisfaction darkened Ethan's gaze. He claimed me again with renewed desperation, until my exhausted body finally gave out after 6 sleepless work nights. I awoke to savory aromas and warm towels gliding over my skin. Ethan hovered nearby with steaming porridge, his beautiful features softening when he saw my open eyes. Sean, he corrected, offering the bowl. Eat. As I sipped the broth, his ministrations grew increasingly attentive. I shivered, catching his wrist. The succubus shop owner said your family collected you. The Cooper family doesn't need to sell heirs in back alley establishments. Why let me purchase you with those discount coupons? What were you after? My bitter laugh scratched my raw throat. Surely not some corporate drone like me. Ethan froze. Sean. And stop forcing that title. I interrupted. His elegant fingers clenched the damp towel until the fabric tore. He gazed at me meaningfully, his eyes darkening. Rather than calling you Sean, I truly don't want to address you as master. He lowered his head to brush his lips against my eyelids. Sean, I did come to you intentionally. He licked the corner of my mouth. Do you remember your childhood? I blinked dazedly. Childhood? Kindergarten days. A sudden pain shot through my temples as if something struggled to surface from my memories. He nibbled at my Adam's apple, words muffled against my skin. Sean, remember? A flood of memories crashed into me. I remembered. I'd known Ethan since kindergarten. Back then, I'd been the ringleader with a gang of kids trailing after me daily. Ethan had been the class outcast, that quiet boy who ate alone and avoided everyone. One afternoon, He'd barricaded himself in the bathroom after accidentally revealing his tail during recess. The other children formed giggling clusters outside the restroom, pointing and calling it the devil's tail. Little Ethan huddled in the stall, tearfully trying to tuck away the shimmering appendage while mockers pressed against the frosted glass. Desperate to pee, I'd stormed in and chased off the gawkers with my best playground tyrant glare. After relieving myself, I discovered Ethan crouched in the corner. His beautiful iridescent tail caught the fluorescent lights just so. "Whoa, that's awesome," I exclaimed. "Where'd you get that?" He turned away silently. Undeterred, I disappeared briefly before reappearing with my makeshift tail, a triangular block drilled through and wrapped in denuded willow branches. "Tada! Now I've got one too." My creation hung lopsided, more ratty squirrel than magical creature. "Ugh, yours is still way cooler," I grumbled, eyeing his elegant tail with envy. Ethan stared at my sad contraption, then slowly smiled. That afternoon, we paraded our tails around the playground. Within weeks, every kid sported some fabric and string imitation. Our friendship solidified through shared popsicles and pinky promises to stay buddies forever. But incubi couldn't risk exposure. Ethan's family used their magic to erase everyone's memories, mine included. When my family moved cities, the boy with the beautiful tail vanished from my mind. "I searched for you endlessly," Ethan murmured, lowering his gaze. His expression turned shadowed. "When I finally found you again, you were surrounded by admirers. No recognition in your eyes." His fingers tightened around mine. "I tried so many times after that, but you never looked my way." Heat crept up my neck. "That explains why you seemed familiar at the Incubus Club. I had no choice but to make up an excuse to give you a discount coupon, letting you conveniently buy me." Ethan looked aggrieved. "But the moment I came to you, my rut started early. You wouldn't even let me touch you, making me handle it myself." Guiltily, I hooked my fingers with his. "I just forgot about your condition. No wonder I instantly loved your tail when I saw it. So beautiful. It adores you too." His gaze turned smoldering, pupils fixed on me. Ethan's Adam's apple bobbed repeatedly, his tail twitching with restless energy beneath the sheets. I quickly cocooned myself tighter in the blanket. After finally getting daytime rest, dusk found us at the dinner table. Ethan watched me eat with mournful eyes, the steaming broth he'd spent 2 hours preparing filling the air with rich, milky aroma. "Sean," his voice roughened, "I'm starving too." I deliberately sipped from my bowl. "Then eat. You made enough for 3 people." He barked a laugh. "Are you playing dumb? My rut's still ongoing." I froze. "Didn't we, all night? Werewolves need multiple days," he said petulantly. "You delayed proper care initially." Exasperated, I shrugged. "I'm still eating. Why don't you take care of yourself while I—" His pupils dilated with predatory glee. "You said it." My spoon clattered onto the table. Overwhelming sensations flooded my hazy mind as strong arms lifted me. Being carried away, I lamented my fate. When would this endless cycle aboard the Cooper family's ship ever end?